So starting the test drive in this G550, I always wonder why these were so expensive, and you really get an extremely capable SUV for off-road purposes as well as just driving around town with this powertrain. But it's super comfortable, and like I said earlier, especially with the updates that they did to the lighting, that was really the biggest thing. You have something that looks more modern but still nostalgic at the same time. Now for this to be $180,000 almost, I would have liked to see, I feel like cooled seats should come standard for that amount of money. But I mean, who am I to know what these really cost to make, so on and so forth. But honestly, this 4-liter twin turbo V8 it's pretty nasty. And this isn't even the G63 that you can get. So even though this has great performance, I'm just curious to see how fast that one is. But I'm going to show you all the actual power of it when I get on the interstate here in a moment. But surprisingly, I was expecting this to drive a little bit bigger, like feel like it was bigger than it actually is. And it's pretty simple. It almost feels like a Jeep in that sense, where you feel like you're big and you could take on anything, but in terms of maneuverability, you're not suffering. Now, driving this vehicle in comfort, it is a pretty plush ride, I'll give it that. But I'm gonna put it into the sport mode, and I'm really gonna see how this thing drives, and I'm also gonna use the paddle shifters too. It shifts pretty quickly though. You can tell that. I'm gonna give myself a little space. Nobody's directly behind me. Wow. Oh my, this thing pulls. Gosh. I mean, that was remarkable. There's no other way to put it. That's crazy. And the sound you get from this exhaust is, oh man, okay. I never should have doubted the G-Wagon. I see why people pay so much money for these. That's crazy. Now we do have the full driver suite here, so I don't know if the lane keep assist is all the way on, but we do have the adaptive cruise here. But again, the ride is so nice. I'm pretty impressed all the way around. I don't think I've ever actually appreciated driving a G-Wagon. I think I might have driven one before, but I didn't really get in depth with it as I am with this one now. And I get all the hype. I mean, the ride is fantastic. If you want to take it out in the desert and use the 4-wheel drive, you can do that. Of course, the sound system is incredible. The infotainment system looks good. You get so many features here. And again, I mean, you get incredible power for something like this. There's no other way to put it. I mean, incredible. Oh man, this sounds good. Now, in terms of competition for something like this, there's really no way to, you could say maybe a Range Rover, maybe a Lamborghini Urus, something like that, but honestly, it's in its own kind of realm where you have this incredible power for this kind of vehicle, but it's just the epitome of luxury. And honestly, nothing around that price point, for something this expensive, you really don't get competition that compares. So a Urus or maybe like an Audi Q8 or something like that doesn't necessarily compare to this, because those are more sport SUVs. This is the cream of the crop luxury SUV. It just happens to be extremely powerful. And you can expect that with 416 horsepower, 450 pound-feet of torque. And honestly, with those numbers, I can't even say that because I didn't expect that, and I kind of knew what I was getting into. But you don't expect that kind of performance from something that looks as, I guess, sleek and pretty, and it doesn't really pop out. When you see one around town, if you know cars, you're like, oh yeah, G-Wagon, but if you don't know cars, that doesn't necessarily stick out to you. So having something as subtle as this, with the exhaust sound, the power you get, it's just awesome. That's the only way to put it. And with the driver assist system, it just takes it one step further in making this a comfortable vehicle, but also a seamless vehicle to drive. If you do need to get on the interstate for whatever reason, take long trips, it makes it that much more enjoyable. But with all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2023 Mercedes-Benz G550 4MATIC.